Hello, I'm Morgan Detvay with Rental Management One, and in this video we're going to talk with you about the very important topic of landlord liability insurance. I'm sitting down with Eric Chase from Insurance One. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. He's going to give us some very important information about this topic. So Eric, let's start with the basics. What is a landlord liability policy?
A landlord liability policy is simply a policy that covers a landlord that has a property that they rent out, whether that's a condo, an apartment complex, or a standard residential property.
Okay. And what is the difference between a landlord liability policy and a typical homeowner's policy?
They're actually very similar between the two. They give you standard coverages such as the coverage for the property itself and then also liability. Just as a homeowner, you can also add endorsements such as sewer water backup coverage, things that you can add on. The biggest difference is an endorsement called lost rent coverage. And what that is, if there was a claim where the tenant could no longer live in the home due to a fire or weather-related claim, there's an endorsement that covers that rent loss that the landlord loses.
Okay, well that sounds like very helpful coverage. Now, does an investor or property owner have to have that type of policy?
It is not required. Now, if there's a mortgage involved, most likely the mortgage company will require it. It is important to know that when you move out of a house and then you start renting it out, possibly as a rental property, you want to make sure your insurance company knows about it, because once you move out, it's no longer a true policy because it's null and void. It's no longer your primary residence. So you want to make sure that you touch base with them to make sure they switch it over to a landlord liability policy.
Okay, good to know. Is the cost for the landlord policy, is that tax deductible?
I believe it is, because it is a business expense, but I would recommend reaching out to a tax professional to verify that.
Should landlords require that their tenants carry renter's insurance?
Absolutely. You know, there's two parts to it. One, tenants believe that their personal properties is covered by the landlord, which is not the case in most situations, such as their clothes or furniture if there was a fire. So they want to make sure they have a tenant policy that covers their personal property, but more importantly, the liability aspect of it. It's an extra layer of coverage for not only the tenant, but also the landlord for that liability issue.
What does a landlord liability policy typically cost?
Just like home and auto, the rates are going to vary, depending on the buyer of the home, because it does follow the buyer. It looks at their insurance score, which is based off your credit, and many other variable aspects of it. On average, it is probably around $1,200 is our average premium, but that also depends on how many units it has. If there's more than 4 units, most likely that's going to be a commercial policy. If it's less than 4 units, a standard landlord liability policy.
Last question, how does someone obtain a landlord liability policy?
The best way is to reach out to an independent insurance agency like myself and Insurance One. We have the ability to represent more than several different insurance carriers. So we have the ability to shop around to try to find the best rate. But most importantly, when you are shopping, you don't want to look just at the rate. You want to look at the coverages that you're getting, because obviously at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're covered properly.
Right. And now, if someone was interested in getting a free quote from Insurance One, how would they reach you?
The best way is to call us at 1-800-752-0680, or they can also go to our website at www.insone.com.
Thank you so much for sitting down with us, Eric. This was really helpful.
My pleasure. Thank you.
For more information on property management, check out our website at rentalmanagementone.com.